Hey guys, Chelsea here. So as you can see outside my window, it is nighttime. The kids are in bed. It is going on 9:00 p.m. But we got back from apple picking last weekend. Usually when we go apple picking, you know, I come back with a ton of apples and I'm usually making apple breads and apple pie and fried pies and apple fritters. And that's not happening because I am on Weight Watchers now and I'm trying very, very, very hard to stay on my, get that blue dot every day. And so one of the recipes I really wanted to try out was an apple fritter recipe that I found on the app. But it was one of those times where I knew it was there, but I didn't really look closely at it. And as I started looking at it a little bit more closely today, because I wanted to make it with you, I realized it's really more like an apple pancake, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I got online and started Googling apple fritter recipes, and I found this really cool recipe, drizzlemeskinny.com. I don't know if you guys have ever used that as a resource, but this woman makes just Weight Watchers recipes, and she puts Weight Watchers points, all colors, green, purple, blue, on all of her recipes. So she has a recipe for an apple fritter loaf, and that thing, it's looking really beautiful, and it's calling my name. So that's what we're gonna make tonight. I've got 2 points left for the day, and one slice is 4 points, so I don't mind going over two. I've got the weeklies left over to do that, so I'm gonna have some apple fritter loaf tonight, and you are gonna help me make it. So anyway, if you can't tell, I have a lot of family memories that are involved around like food. I've realized, I'm coming to realize that so many of our family traditions involve, you know, caramel apple making and apple pie making and pumpkin pie making, and can't wait till we make gingerbread houses. And I'm sitting here thinking, how am I gonna handle this Christmas season on Weight Watchers? But I'm so excited that I found a recipe that's going to be something that I can eat on Weight Watchers and also still enjoy my favorite parts of the season, which is eating. You know, I mean, I didn't. Okay, so I have my oven set to 375 preheating, and it says to just take a regular size loaf pan and spray it with some non-stick spray. So, all right. Okay, our next step is to take a small bowl, and we're gonna take 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. This is another one of those recipes that uses like a little bit of brown sugar rather than Splenda or sugar substitute. So I feel a little bit better about feeding my family actual sugar instead of like a sugar substitute like Splenda. So 3 tablespoons of brown sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Oh, it smells so good, guys. Is it fall? Is it fall where you are? I hope it's fall where you are, because it's just the best time of the year. It's been super crisp and cold lately. The kids, I never know what to dress my kids in the morning. You know, do I put if I put them in long, it's freezing outside, I put them in their little sweaters and their long pants, and they're burning up by the end of the day. But then what do? Put them in shorts and a jacket? Well, that's what I've been doing. Anyway. All right, so I'm mixing up that teaspoon of cinnamon and those 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And we're gonna set that aside. Oh gosh, it smells so good. Guys, I'm gonna eat me some apple fritter loaf. All right. Next step was to peel and dice your apples into small pieces. And I went ahead and did that ahead because I didn't want you guys watching me with my knife skills. I don't think that they're particularly good, and I didn't want any judgment, okay? So I was trying to save some time. So I cut them about this small. I don't know if that's the right size, but that's what I did. And I wanted to show you guys this apple. So I remember how last week, at the beginning of the week, me and Misty were talking about the apples that we get when we go to apple picking. And her favorite type of apple is she says Mitsu, I think it's Mutsu, I don't know, it's M-U, so it's gotta be Mu or Ma, I don't know. Anyway, whatever this apple is, Mitsu, Mutsu. I thought I didn't like it, but it's growing on me. It is like a Granny Smith apple in texture, but it's sweeter. And so it's like got the crispy dryness of a Granny Smith, which means it's gonna be a good baking apple because there's not a lot of juice in it, but it's still sweet, kind of like a Honeycrisp. I think this is gonna be a good apple for our apple fritter loaf. So we've peeled and diced our apples into small pieces, and then we need to add another teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm trying really hard not to bang things on the bowl like last time. I watched that video afterwards and it was clang, 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 clang. Oh yes. This smells so good. I believe I'm gonna be having some of this for breakfast too. At only 4 points a slice. Is it 4 or 5? 5 points a slice. I'll take it. Okay. So in our larger bowl, we are going to take our eggs. There should be 2 of them. And our next step is a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So that's almost half a cup of brown sugar in total in this recipe, which isn't too bad because it's gonna make a big loaf. Now we're gonna take 1/3 cup of unsweetened applesauce, and I think that's probably pretty important that it's unsweetened, points-wise. And I just happen to have some in my cabinet, which is remarkable. I was not prepared. I was gonna make apple pancakes. Some vanilla. And I always use pure vanilla extract. It's more expensive, but it makes such a big difference. And have any of you guys ever tried Mexican vanilla? I have a friend from the library who anytime she went on a cruise to Mexico, she would always bring back Mexican vanilla for us. And it is so good. If you've never tried Mexican vanilla, that is the vanilla to be baking with. And now we're going to use 1/3 cup milk. I still have some skim milk left over from the pumpkin spice latte test that we had a couple weeks ago. If you haven't watched that video, I found the best pumpkin spice latte on Weight Watchers, only 5 points on green, so check that out. Mix well. Okay, in here I have 1 1/3 cup flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And the recipe says to fold in, and you know, I'm not like a classically trained baker or anything. I don't really know what fold means. I'm just gonna be really gentle. I thought folding was more of like a dough thing. I don't know, what do I know? So we're gonna very gently I'm just gonna dump it in there. I mean, come on guys. Okay, yeah, I think it's like a, you know. Do you know what I know about folding? Any of you guys seen Sleeping Beauty? The old Sleeping Beauty classic? And that green fairy, Fiona, says, fold in eggs. That's what I know about folding. Probably should have Googled it before I started a YouTube video. We're all friends. That is not folding. I mean, should it be lumpy? I don't know. It doesn't really say. We're gonna go with it. I think it's fine. Okay, that's folded. Our next step, we're gonna take our little pan and we're gonna put half of the batter into the pan. Folding gently. That's about right. Then we're gonna take our apples that have the brown sugar and the cinnamon already mixed in, and we are gonna take about half of them and we are going to gently press them into the batter according to instructions. So it looks a little bit more like a plop, but that'll be fine. All right, then we're gonna take half of our brown sugar cinnamon mixture and sprinkle that on top. Oh my gosh, guys, you don't even know how good this smells right now. This, I think, is gonna be so much better than an apple pancake. All right, we're gonna use this again. So same thing, repeat. It's like a little layered loaf. We're going to drop the rest of the apples. Now the apples that I used, guys, were 2 kind of big apples. I'm wondering if I put too much apple in here, but they'll probably cook down, so we'll see. Can you guys see that? Can't smell it, wish you could. And then we're gonna finish sprinkling this on. Okay guys, so here it is. You can kind of see the layers on the side. It smells really good. There's batter in there, there's apples in there. We're not frying anything, so it's not like an apple fritter, like a fried apple fritter, but I think it's gonna taste really good. So we're gonna go pop this in the oven for 50 minutes. Okay, so it's in the oven and it's gonna bake for the next 50 minutes. It is now 9:15 p.m. I'm usually in bed right now, to be completely honest, but that's okay because we are gonna have some apple fritter loaf and it is gonna be completely worth it. So while that bakes, I'm gonna clean up in here and then I'm probably going to read a book. I am currently, I don't know if any of you guys are readers out there. I do love to read. I love to read more than I love to watch TV. Misty's the big TV guru and I just mostly read books. And I am right now reading, have you guys ever heard of Naomi Novak? She wrote like Her Majesty's Dragon or His Majesty, somebody's Majesty's, it was a Majesty's Dragon series. And I read the first one of those. But a couple of years ago, she wrote a book called Uprooted, which is like by and far, like if you like fairy tales, if you grew up reading like fairy tale books, it was like one of the best, and it wasn't even like a retelling of any particular fairy tale. It was just a very fairy tale-ish story, but it was for adults. And it was so good. She just did such a great job of taking a character and making it very real. And there was a, you know, it was really good. Well, she has just come out, like in the past month or so, with a new series. It's called the Scholomance series or something like that. And the first book is called A Deadly Education. And I started reading it last night and I could not put it down. I ended up like staying up until like 1:30 in the morning reading this book and I had work the next day, which is not good. Anyway, so I am like 70% into this book. So I am gonna go read that while this is baking. And if you are a fantasy fan, then definitely check that out. If you haven't read any of her books yet, it's really good. So I'll check back with you in a second when it comes. Okay, it is out of the oven. I let it sit for about 45 minutes to completely cool off because I was in the middle of a really good book. And it smells really good. You guys see how nice and crispy and brown and yummy it looks. So one of the things that the recipe does call for is a little bit of glazed topping. So I've got 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar here. And we're gonna add just a little bit of a half tablespoon of milk. And we're gonna stir that up. And as you can see, that's really just such a small amount. The author of the recipe said it's such a small amount it doesn't even really count as a point because you're spreading it over 10 servings. So it doesn't really add or take away points whether or not you use it or not, according to her. So we're just gonna drizzle that over the top. She says it just adds a nice little sweetness. So recipe says that this is a 10 serving recipe, so I'm just gonna cut that in half. And I'm gonna do my very, very best not to lie to myself about what a serving size is. That is where I go wrong. All right, so I've got 5 pieces cut out on this side. Do you ever like go for like the biggest piece? Like you get a piece of like a pizza and it's like, oh, cheese pizza from Little Caesars is only 7 points per slice. I'm going to get the largest slice. Why do I do that to myself? It's a lie, Chelsea. It's a lie. But I'm gonna get the biggest piece. All right, can you see that? So it's not an apple fritter, but it's an apple fritter loaf. And we're just gonna see if all the flavors of fall are in this bite. And they are. Guys, this might be even better than the pumpkin spice latte. That is really good. Okay, so I'm not the best person at making sure that all my little pieces of apple were cut the exact same size. So far, there have been a couple of bigger pieces of apple that are a little crunchy still, so make sure you cut your pieces small. And then other than that, do not change a thing about this recipe. This is exactly what you're looking for. All right, guys, so if you're looking for a way to enjoy your fall traditions, and you still want that apple fritter taste, but without the apple fritter points, this is definitely a recipe that you guys need to make right away. It makes 10 slices. Each slice is, if you're on green plan, 5 points. If you're on blue or purple, it's 4. I'm linking the recipe below in the description. And so Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed our little get together today, please do subscribe to our channel, and thank you so much for your support, and I'll be seeing you guys again on weigh-in day. Hopefully down several pounds if I can stay away from the rest of these pieces. Thank you.